6 cars with crazy small back seats. What's up everyone, how are we all doing? Ever looked at an expensive and powerful sports car and marveled at the well-designed, well-appointed, luxurious interior? Most of us have. Whilst quality materials are commonplace, space certainly comes at a premium on a lot of models, even expensive ones. Here are 6 cars with ridiculously small back seats. Number 1. The Porsche 911. All throughout its 66-year-long history, the Porsche 911 has been a 4-seater, except for some homologation or high-performance versions like the new GT3 RS, for example. Ordinary models all had rear seats, which all had a ridiculously small amount of space. Back in the early 60s, the Porsche 911 could maybe pass as a usable car for young families, but today this is clearly a 2-seater model with 2 extra seats for pets or bags. Even if you manage to climb in the back, you will find leg and headroom very restricted, as the 911's back seats are usable only in case of an emergency. That said, it's a fully legal 4-seater with seatbelts and everything. Maybe it's the perfect car for young families. Number 2. The Mercedes 280 SL Pagoda. This one is a fascinating case of absurd back seats. Back in the late 60s, one of the most sought-after Mercedes models was the gorgeous 280 SL Pagoda Roadster. Like all SL models before and after, the 280 SL Pagoda was also designed as strictly a 2-seater car, but eventually Mercedes did offer a unique 3rd-seat option. The so-called California Coupe had no canvas top, only a removable hardtop, and came with the 3rd seat mounted sideways behind the passenger. The seat was tiny and very narrow, but apparently this configuration had some legroom. Today this model is very obscure, and most Mercedes fans turn to regular roadsters. Number 3. The Audi TT. Even though the Audi TT is built on a VW Golf platform, the rear seats are nothing like the ones in the Golf Mark 7. The TT is a sports coupe, and its design clearly limits the amount of room in the back. In fact, the rear seats aren't usable, even for small children, since the leg and headroom is extremely small, and tiny side windows make riding in the back a very claustrophobic experience. However, there is one upside, and it's the fact that the rear seat can be folded, giving some extra space to the boot, and making a TT the somewhat of a practical and affordable sports car. Space or not though, it's still a registered 4-seater vehicle. 4. The Nissan Skyline GTR R35. It is really tough to criticize Nissan's sublime Skyline GTR R35. After all, this is a car which is capable of almost a 200 mph top speed, reaching 60 mph in just over 3 seconds and slaying nearly every supercar. The GTR is one of the biggest legends in the sports car world, and it's still relevant and amazing even 12 years after the introduction, which shows how good the original concept was. However, there is one area where the GTR R35 has not met the expectations. You guessed it, rear seats. The Skyline is technically a 2+2 coupe, which means that there are 2 seats in the back. I wouldn't bother though. When you open the doors, you'll soon realize that no adult can sit there, even for the shortest trips, unless maybe you don't have legs. Still, the GTR has a decent boot, so it's somewhat of a practical sports car. Number 5. The Peugeot RCZ. When we first saw the RCZ in 2009, we were smitten by cool design, a double bubble roof, and lively performance. The RCZ is a very brave car, and not something you'd usually expect from Peugeot. With up to 270 horsepower, the RCZ is also a pretty capable little coupe, which serves as a more extravagant and stylish alternative to the Audi TT or the Volkswagen Scirocco. If you look at its rear seats, however, you might be unpleasantly surprised. The back seats of the Peugeot RCZ are in fact pretty much a padded shelf with the shape of a seat, but no comfort, no leg or headroom at all. I wouldn't even want to think about travelling long distances, but they are legitimate seats. On the other hand, the RCZ has a big boot, which is good to know, but I'd suggest that you don't bother even trying to use the rear seats. Number 6. The Lotus Evora. The Lotus Evora is an excellent sports car, and with a 3.5-litre V6 and supercar performance, Lotus really stepped things up with this model, being not only one of the most potent Lotus cars ever, but also one of the most practical. But yes, you guessed it, the Evora is a 4-seater. Before you even think it's a perfect sports car for you and your family, however, I have to tell you that it would be difficult to fit even the baby seat, let alone 2 kids or teenagers in it. Why did Lotus even bother to put 2 seats in the back, wrap them in leather and install 2 seat belts if they're unusable? Probably for insurance reasons, or to market the Evora as a more practical proposition than the Elise or the Exige. So there you are. Does your car have tiny back seats? Have you ever sat inside a car like this? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like or dislike the video. It really helps me out. Cheers!